Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that when we look at the sequel trilogy, one thing that a lot of people are really looking forward to seeing in The Rise of Skywalker is, of course, exactly how the legacy characters are going to be used in this movie, in a sense where we actually get to see Han, Luke, Leia, Lando in different ways than ever before. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, what's really intriguing about Episode 9 is that we do know that this is going to have a lot of connections to the prequels, the originals, and will even have a lot of references to, of course, past characters from the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy by J.J. Abrams. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the set leaks, this is where things begin to get very exciting for The Rise of Skywalker. Now, specifically, it's described that one of the scenes that are planned for the month of June for reshoots includes a sequence in which Daisy Ridley as Rey is witnessing the netherworld of the Force, where she sees the Force ghost of Luke Skywalker, where eventually it's described that the Force ghost of Obi-Wan Kenobi is set to appear in the sequence and will transition from the young version from the prequels to a mixed version that is said to be a blend between Alec Guinness and Ewan McGregor. It's described that J.J. Abrams has plans in order to bring in Ewan McGregor to provide lines of dialogue and to appear on set to portray the character once more for the vital scene that will explore new Force lore that will give fans a glimpse into the netherworld of the Force. The sequence is described to also use next-generation aging and de-aging technology for the Obi-Wan apparition that will be used for the scene. Additionally, it's described that Daisy will not be a part of the reshoots, however, only some of the visuals will be altered, and the addition of course, Ewan McGregor is planned for the scene to portray a younger version of Kenobi that transitions to a middle-aged version of the character. So I want to go over a couple of parts about this because we do know that this movie is really going to deliver when it comes to nostalgia and fan service. Now, in my point of view, fan service isn't always, necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it's probably something that is very much needed for Episode 9 after coming out of The Last Jedi, and how a lot of people had issues with the movie, including myself. By the way, guys, if you like The Last Jedi, that is perfectly fine and okay and all. But one thing I really do want to point out here is I'm not quite sure how a lot of fans would really feel about a mixed version of Obi-Wan Kenobi that Ewan McGregor is going to be attached to, and I'm talking about a middle-aged version of the character in the form of a Force ghost, if you will, that is going to be a mixture between both Alec Guinness and Ewan McGregor, where Ewan McGregor will be the stand-in for the character, and also providing lines of dialogue and voiceover work for the character of Kenobi for this sequence that takes place within the netherworld of the Force. And let's get on to that. The netherworld is actually going to be explored in Episode 9 in some way, shape, or form by the Force ghost of Luke Skywalker. He is the actual Force ghost who initiates this whole entire thing in front of both Daisy Ridley as Rey and Adam Driver as Kylo Ren. Now, one thing I will say about this is that this seems like it really is going to answer a lot of the burning questions in The Force Awakens, and we do know that, J.J. Abrams wants to answer as to why we heard the line of dialogue of Kenobi reaching out to Rey. There's more to the story there that is, needed to be told in Episode 9, and we can see exactly where this is all going. So there is some type of past between both Rey and, of course, Kenobi, and or a planned, conversation between these two characters in Episode 9 that would, in fact, explain that line of dialogue that we heard in The Force Awakens. So with that being said, the fact that this movie is going to answer all of those burning questions and is also going to be used in a sense in a way to also kind of make us look back at The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi in a different way by incorporating all of these different connections and some of these fan favorite characters. Now, the other piece that I do want to go over is that this is actually said to be a sequence in which they will be using next generation de-aging and aging technology for Ewan McGregor on set during the reshoots. So, like I say, we do know that Episode 9 really is going to deliver when it comes to not just all the different connections to the past films, but also as far as innovation goes. And innovation applies to the technology that is going to play a role in this movie. Now, they are going to use these different levels of CGI that fans have never seen before on the big screen. In fact, they're going to even be taking it up to the next level with Star Wars X, also known as Star Wars Episode 10, the first film of the new Star Wars trilogy, by David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. They're going to also be using next generation technology for those movies, so look forward to that. As far as episode 9 goes, guys, though, I gotta say, I'm very excited to see exactly how this is all going to be done and how it's going to be used in the final product, and exactly what the meaning of all of this is really going to be, right? What the purpose really is going to be for Rey and Kylo Ren to see the netherworld of the Force, and the Force ghosts of course, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker, and exactly what this is all going to really lead to. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No hiding. From night to moon, we hear them moans again.